Hi guys, I'm back. Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, how are you? It's nice to see you. Please sit down and talk with us about all things books. Now I know you guys are thinking, welcome back, what do you mean? I haven't sat down in front of a camera in almost 3 weeks. It's been longer than 3 weeks and I have missed you guys so much. And I know I posted a video last week that was pre-filmed, so I am so happy to be sitting down here and chatting with you guys and just like being back with my besties. Like, I'm so excited. Today I am going through my 10 before the end. 10 before the end. So if you don't know what that means the 10 books that I'm going to read before the end of 2024. Which is insane. I think it's insane, and I say this at every monthly reading wrap up. I think that it is crazy that it is almost the end of the year. I have my Christmas tinsel here to feel festive and feel in the mood. I am so excited to go through these books with you guys. I feel like I've picked a really good selection of books here. I am trying to be really picky with what I chose because I have this goal that I want to continue or finish any books that I'm in the middle of, and also series that I'm in the middle of. Now, I'm in the middle of a lot of series, so don't come at me. There are so many more series that I could have put in here, but I feel like I needed to pick some books that were really exciting to me, books that I have been waiting for an excuse to read, and I feel like I've picked some really good ones here. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Let's sit down and go through all 10 of the books that I have picked here that I want to read before the end of 2024. So I've got my little pile here. There are a few books here which I'm so freaking excited. I am just obsessed of my 10 before the end, and I'm so excited to share it. So the first book that I have picked is Promise Me Not by Megan Brandy. So if you guys don't know, Megan Brandy wrote Say You Swear, which is one of my all-time favorite books, and I absolutely loved it. I thought that it was such a good read, and I can't believe that it took me so long to read it. It is very hyped on Book Talk, so I think that when I started reading it, I was actually really nervous if it was any good, because I feel like overhyped books can be like severely disappointing sometimes. So this is the second book in that series. It follows on from Say You Swear. I don't know anything about it other than that. I don't know who the characters are. I don't know who it's about. I don't know anything like that. All I know is that I feel like I've been waiting for this book for so long. Like, I feel like we've all been waiting for it, and it finally came out. And I was so excited to read it when it got released, except I haven't. Like, I just haven't had any excuse to read it. Like, I feel like it's the perfect time to add this to my 10 before the end. It's actually really short, which I think is really surprising, because Say You Swear was like a thick book. I feel like there was a lot of sustenance in that book. Like, it was a larger book. So this is really interesting. I'm really intrigued to know who it's about, but I sometimes like to go into these books blind, and it's been a really long time since I read Say You Swear, so I don't even know if I read the back of it, if I would even like correlate the characters with the first book. So I am really excited to get into this one. I know that it's a sports romance. I mean, the first one was a sports romance, so I'm assuming that this one is also going to be a sports romance. That could be the wrong assumption. If any of you have read it, please let me know, because I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it just like follows on from characters that we already know. But I'm really excited to read this one, and it is on the top of my TBR. The next book that I have is actually the next book in the Sutton Mountain series, which is Chase Our Dream by Kat Singleton. Now, this book was sent to me so lovely by Kat Singleton. I wasn't even expecting it, and it arrived on my front door, and I was so excited. I am now up to this book. It is the third book in the series. So we have Rewrite Our Story, Tempt Our Fate, and Chase Our Forever. So this is the third book, and I am really excited to read it. I love Kat Singleton's writing. I love her small town romances, and I cannot wait to get to this one. All I know is that it's single dad. That is all I know. I don't know if it's single dad nanny. I am assuming it is. I don't know anything about it, but I'm so freaking excited. This is actually an ARC copy from Kat Singleton, and I feel so blessed to have it in my hands. And you just like the cover The cover is just enough said. Like, I feel like there's no more that needs to be said about this. I love small town romances. I love single dad trope, and I just feel like I'm gonna eat this up, and I'm really excited to like further continue on in this series and be up to date, because I feel like I was lagging behind with this series and I didn't read the second one in time to read this straight away. But I'm really, really loving this series so far. I'm loving the characters, and I feel like this would just be like the perfect little palette cleanser, small town romance that I need when I'm not really feeling like anything and I just want to read this one. So I'm really excited to read this before the end of 2024. The next book that I have is actually a book that I'm in the middle of. So I think I'm 20% into this book and I'm loving it so much so far, and that is The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. Now, you guys know that I put off finishing the Briar You series because I didn't want it to end. Like, I wasn't ready to say goodbye to the characters. I wasn't ready to say goodbye to the world. And I know that this is like a second generation continuation from the off-campus series. So this is the daughter of the first couple in the, what's the first one? So this is the daughter of the couple in The Deal. So The Deal is the first one in the off-campus series. It is the first book in this universe, and this follows their daughter, and I'm just loving the vibes so far already. It's giving enemies to lovers. That's what it's giving. So we have two hockey players. So we have Gigi and Ryder. So Gigi is the daughter of Garrett Graham. Yes. So Gigi is the daughter of Garrett Graham, and he is obviously in the first book, and she is a female hockey player, right? And we are still at Briar University, and obviously it's many, many, many years later after all of the other series, and she is pretty much, she's really good. She's a really good hockey player. And then you have this bright new hockey player, Ryder. So I don't want to spoil too much of the plot for you guys, but I'm pretty sure that it's enemies to lovers. That's what I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting. And they are like real enemies. Like, they really don't like each other. And I feel like we're about to have like a little bit of like a bet or an agreement type situation. I think that's what's coming, but I'm really enjoying this. And you guys know I am a sucker for hockey romance. Like, I'm an absolute sucker for a good hockey romance and an enemies to lover type situation. So I'm loving this. And I feel like there's no grumpy sunshine either. I feel like they're both grumpy, like grumpy, if that even makes sense. So I'm really loving this one. And obviously I had to put this in my 10 before the end because I'm 20% through it. So I feel like I am going to finish this book, and I must finish it before the end of the year, which is an easy achievement for me if I'm already loving it and I'm already enjoying it. I feel like Elle Kennedy can do absolutely no wrong in my eyes, and I love her so much. And she just knows, she knows what she's doing. And I feel like if she gave me her grocery shopping list, I would eat that up, devour it, frame it, and just like I would just love it, okay? I would love it. So I am really excited to finish this one, and I'm so happy that I could put it on my 10 before the end. And you know what? I may even read the second one in the series that's out. I don't know, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just put this one on the list for now. The next one that I have is actually a Christmas book. So this is How the Grump Saved Christmas by Claire Kingsley. Claire Kingsley writes some phenomenal small town romances, and I had this on my TBR for December last year, and I didn't read it, and I couldn't obviously read it during the year because now that we're in our festive season, I have to save all my Christmas books for now. So I feel like this was a really good one to put in this 10 before the end, because next month I'm planning on reading exclusively Christmas books. Like, I love a Hallmark movie Christmas vibes, and you're telling me that this is a small town romance and it's also Christmas? Like, say less. Say absolutely less. So I'm really excited to read this one and binge it and love it. And I just feel like it's the perfect vibe from now onwards, because I'm really starting to get into my Christmas mood. I love this time of year. I love the vibes. And I just feel like this is going to complete me in a way that I need, okay? I need to read this, and I'm probably going to wait till December so I can read it in December, but I just think it's going to be such good vibes, and it's just gonna, like, I have really high hopes for this book, and I really hope it delivers. The next book that we have is All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this is the next book in the Natural series. It is book 3. I have already read book 1 and 2, and I really need to continue on with this series. I feel like for me, thrillers and mysteries and YA books, I really need to be in the mood for, or I just need to pick it up because I end up loving it by the time I'm done. I just need to get there. Like, I need to get the motivation to read them first because I have so many small town romances that I just gravitate towards. And I've loved every single book in this series so far. I feel like they've all been like 4 or 5 stars for me. And I've heard really, really good things about this one. And I really need to continue on with series that I'm in the middle of. And I really don't want to take too many series with me to next year. Like, I don't want to have too many outstanding series. So I feel like if I keep going on with this one, maybe if I finish it, I might have the pull to read the last one in the series, which is what excites me the most. Because once I finish these books, I need to know what happens next. And I need that pull to read it. So the Natural series is sort of like, it gives Criminal Mind vibes, but with teenagers. So you have all of these teenagers with natural abilities and they help the FBI solve crimes. And there's a lot of other things happening within that too. I feel like there's a little bit of a romance aspect in it as well. There's a bit of like a love triangle. It is YA though. So you're only really getting like little bits and pieces. And I feel like this is really, really interesting. And it keeps me really hooked the entire time whenever I'm reading these books. So I really want to finish this one by the end of the year. The next book is a book that I am really, really excited to read, and I feel like I just want to read it straight away, and that is Training the Heart by Paisley Hope. This is the second book in the Silver Pine series. These books were very graciously gifted to me and I absolutely loved the first one. The first one is Holding the Reins, and I feel like that was one of my favorite small town romances that I've read this year. It has to be one of my favorites. It was perfect. I loved it. It was such a great little cowboy aspect in it as well, and I just couldn't get enough. Like, I wanted it to be longer. I wanted to slow down so that I could devour it. And I loved the characters. I loved the settings. I loved everything about it. And I feel like it is very high up there on my favorite book of this year, like, honestly. So this is the second one and I cannot wait to continue on in this world, except I sort of didn't go straight into it because I don't want it to be over. Like, these two are the only books that are out in this series, and if I read this one, I'm afraid that I'm going to miss them too much and I'm not going to have anything to look forward to. But I do want to read it before the end of the year because I honestly loved it. I loved the first one. So this one has to give the same vibes, right? Like, it has to be as good. It's the same author, it's the same world, and I'm just so, so excited. So this is definitely very, very high up on my 10 before the end because I couldn't get enough. Like, I want to be back in this world. I want to be back at Silver Pine Ranch, okay? The next one that I have is the second book in the Beyond the Play series by Grace Reilly. This is Breakaway. So this is the second book. I loved the first book so much. I started it because I bought it and I was like, I'm really into sports romance right now. So I read the first one. I wasn't expecting much from it. I was like, oh, this will be like a little bit cutesy, a little bit fun. And it blew me out of the water. Like, I absolutely loved it and I could not wait to start the second one. I don't know why I haven't started it, honestly. Like, I feel like I was so in love with the first book. I don't know why I didn't just keep going. So this one is a hockey romance. So I believe the first one is a football romance and this is a hockey romance. So it is sports yum. Like, we love sports romance, okay? We love them. And I just can't wait. Like, I feel like I need to continue on with this series. And I think there's 4 books in the series. I could be wrong. Please don't quote me on that. But I loved all of the brothers and I couldn't wait to just like keep going with it. So I'm really excited to read this one. I feel like Grace Reilly is just like such a good author to me and I loved it. And I hadn't read any of her books before, so I was really blown away with the first book. And I feel like you just like hockey romance, like, come on, just like, we need to just keep reading hockey romances, okay guys? So that is the next one in my 10 before the end, and I really am excited to read this one and continue on with this series because I feel like I can't leave series too long or too, like, otherwise I get quite stagnant with it. And it's been a long time since I read the first one, so I need that pull to like read this and read the rest of the series. So the next book that I have is Playing by the Rules. This is the second book in the Players series by Monica Murphy. I read the first book and again, I went into it really thinking absolutely nothing. I was like, I haven't read any Monica Murphy books, but everyone loves her. So I read the first book and I was like, oh my God, what have I been missing out on? I devoured the first book. It was so good. And this is the second one and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I read the dedication to this and it was dedicated to the Folklore album by Taylor Swift. And all of my Taylor Swift girlies know that any book that is dedicated to her music or has the same vibes, we need to read. So I cannot wait to just blast that album while I'm reading this. And there is a playlist in it as well. And I just like, I cannot wait. Like I actually cannot wait to read this and listen to the playlist. And I just loved this whole series. Like I loved the first book so much that I feel like you cannot go wrong, right? And the cover is so pretty. And I think there are 3 books in this series. I only have the first 2, but I feel like I'm really gonna love this one and enjoy it. And I just needed to put it on my 10 before the end, okay? Like I have a lot of sports romances on here, I'm starting to realize. So maybe I'm in my sports romance era and that's okay, you know, like that's fine. The more sports romance, the better. And I feel like you can never go wrong with a good sports romance. Now this is football, I believe. I believe these are football. The last one was, so I'm assuming that this one is going to be as well. And I mean, look at the cover, like it's football romance. And I haven't read a lot of football romance, so I feel like I really need to up my football romance game. And this is what's going to do that. Alrighty, so the next book that I have is really me just trying to finish a series, and that is Finding Hayes by Laura Pavlov. This is the special edition cover, so there is a people cover as well, but this is the, I believe it's the 5th book. Is it the 5th book? Hold on. Yes, this is the 5th book in the Magnolia Falls series. Now, the Magnolia Falls series has just been trad published as well, and I am absolutely obsessed with this series, and I love Laura Pavlov so much. So I feel like if you want to read some really good small town cutesy romances, you definitely need to read this series. The first one is Loving Romeo, and I loved that book so much, and I feel like when I read it, I really needed that book. So I have just loved every single book in this series. This is the last book in the series as well, which makes me really sad because I get really upset when I finish Laura Pavlov books because I feel like the whole like world which she builds is over. But I do love that her series sort of like interconnect with each other, and like I still see some of the characters from her other books and they pop in every once in a while, and somehow they're all interconnected into each other. And I also love that her books are all so interconnected, like you don't have to read them in order. And I think that that's such a good thing for new people that are just being introduced into Laura Pavlov books, because you can read one. If you don't like the tropes in one of them, you can skip it and then you can go to the next one. And I just feel like it is such a refreshing way to read a series. Like you don't have to read the entire series. There's no cliffhangers. You sort of just like, if you want to be a part of the world, then you continue. And I love her books so much. I feel like majority of them are 5-star reads for me. She is an auto-buy author for me, and just like a Roman Empire author as well. So this is the last book. I'm so sad to see this series go, and I think that's why I have put this book off for a little bit. It has only just been released, and Laura Pavlov is just pumping books out. I don't know how she does it. She just pumps some seriously good books out so quickly. And I'm obsessed with her for that, because I never really go too long without a new book from her. So this is on my 10 before the end, because I feel like if I don't read it before the end of the year, then I'm going to be really sad, because there's a book coming out in January in her new series. So I have to be caught up. Like I have to be caught completely up in her series, and I think this is the only book that I have left to read of hers, which is really sad. But I am going to read this before the end of the year so I can be ready for her new release. And last but certainly not least, I have Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. Twisted Lies is the last book in the Twisted series that I have left. A lot of you are really going to be very happy that I've got this in here, because a lot of people love this book. Like, I feel like people are either Twisted Games girlies or Twisted Lies girlies, and I loved Twisted Games so hard. Like, I love that book too. I also loved Twisted Hate, which I think is an unpopular opinion because a lot of people did not like that book. So this is the 4th book, and it is the last book in the series, and I need to finish it before the end of the year. I will not take this series with me to 2025. I refuse, because I need to start the Kings of Sin series, and I can't do that until I finish this. I know a lot of you guys are going to say you don't need to finish this before you start the Kings of Sin series, but I must. Like, me in my soul, I have to finish this book before I continue on with her others. And I'm getting severe FOMO that all of her in the Kings of Sin series, that the other books are coming out and people are reading them and they're getting excited about them, and I can't do that, okay? I can't do that because I'm still reading this damn series. I know that I'm very behind. Like, a lot of you guys read this when you were first getting back into reading. I don't know why I didn't, but I just feel really behind. I have FOMO, I need to read it, and so many people love this book. She's big though, like, she's large. So I'm very excited to put this on my 10 before the end, and I feel like that's gonna give me that push to really just like sit down and enjoy it and read it. I might even listen to the audiobook of it because I feel like the audiobook is out on Everend. I think it's on Everend, and that's basically free. So I can read this one, and I must read it before the end of the year so that I can continue on with all of her other books, because I am feeling left out. I'm feeling left out and sad, and I don't know anything about Twisted Lies. I know the characters, obviously, because I've met them in the other books, and I sort of know like the premise of the characters, and I know their backstory, and I sort of like obviously know they're gonna get together, like duh. But I'm really excited to keep going on with that series. Alrighty, my loves, this is my 10 before the end. Like, I feel like this is such a good little like TBR. I feel like I've done a really good job of picking like different books. I say that, and they're all sports romances. Okay, I know they're all sports romances, okay, but I'm really excited to read them. I'm really excited, and I feel like this is exactly the push that I need to read some of these books, because I've been really excited to read them, but I haven't, because they've either not been on my TBR, or I feel like I have been like pressuring myself to read some other books. So I feel like this is exactly what I needed to sort of have that fun like 10 before the end. I'm really excited, and I've got like a Christmas book in there which I'm really excited about as well. So thank you guys so much for sitting down and talking with me about my 10 before the end. I want to know if any of you guys love these books, which book I should start with, like where I need to, like what you guys think. Okay, I want to know what you guys think of my 10 before the end. If there's books in here that you've loved, books in here that you've not loved, I need to know. Like, I need to know all your opinions. And don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you know every time I post, okay? I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.